Hello, and welcome to the tutorial for Persee, my customizable Vtuber model. I am sophomore/Europayu, and I will be showing you how to install, configure, and customize Persee for VTube Studio. This guide aims to be accessible for beginners, but also powerful for veterans, so there's multiple stages from beginner to advanced depending on your comfort level. Chapters are included in this video, so feel free to skip ahead. A table of contents will also be included in the video description down below. Let's get started. Installation. Download and extract the latest version of Persee from your storefront of choice to your hard drive. Extract it and open the folder's contents. Open Live 2D Models folder. Copy the Persee folder to your VTube Studio's Live 2D Models folder, and installation will be complete. To find your VTube Studio Models folder, open Steam, right-click VTube Studio in the library, hover your mouse over Manage, and click Browse Local File. Open the VTube_Studio_Data folder, the Streaming Assets folder, then the Live 2D Models folder. Copy the Persee folder from before into this folder. It should sit alongside any other models you have already installed. Persee is now installed. To configure Persee for your movement, launch VTube Studio and then enable Persee. As a side note, this guide assumes basic understanding of VTube Studio, but my recommended VTube Studio basic tutorial will be listed in the video description. If you still have questions afterwards, feel free to reach out in the Discord server listed down below, where me or another user might be able to help. Configure Persee. Once Persee is enabled on your screen, tracking is enabled, and your tracking is calibrated, you might notice she's leaning sideways or forward a lot. By default, Persee is designed to lean sideways based on your face's horizontal position and forward depending on how close you are to the camera. You'll need to adjust the input range of these parameters to match your movement or disable them altogether. To adjust Persee's sideways lean, click on the Settings gear, open Model Settings, scroll down to the Body Rotation Z parameter, and expand it. To make Persee lean less, make the numbers next to in bigger, and to make her lean more, make the numbers smaller. The box above the in should be positive and the box below in should be negative. I recommend keeping these numbers the same value right of the minus. To adjust Persee's forward lean, scroll up to the Body Lean Forward parameter and expand it. Disable the Limit Range switch to the right of the input box, then sit in a natural position. On the bottom left of the Body Lean Forward parameter box, you'll see a number that goes up and down depending on how close you are to the camera. In the field above in, sit in a natural position and set this number slightly below the input number. Next, lean forward a comfortable amount, read the input number and set the field below in to your current input. Finally, re-enable limit range next to input. Persee is now configured. Move around, make sure you like the movement, and adjust the input ranges as necessary. I recommend leaving the output range alone. One side note. This isn't unique to Persee, but depending on your anatomy, tracking device, tracking position, and mannerism, you might need to adjust other parameters here. If you notice Persee's eyes are always really wide open or always half closed, then you might need to recalibrate or adjust some input ranges. Next, I'll show you how to customize Persee, starting with how to use presets. When Persee is open, you'll notice 8 on-screen buttons to the right of the screen. The first magenta button toggles the gamepad. The second yellow button is a shortcut for reloading textures. The final 6 red buttons are for enabling and disabling presets I've included with Persee. The names of each preset will be displayed on the screen now. Feel free to pause and take a screenshot or click the link in the video description that takes you to the manual. To enable a preset, press the preset button, navigate to the folder where you downloaded Persee, open Texture Preset folder, the corresponding preset_ folder, and then copy these files into your Live 2D Model /Persee/Persee8192 folder. You want to overwrite them. Next, press the yellow button below the gamepad toggle to reload the textures. To disable a preset and to go back to the default, press the same red button again, copy the preset_blank textures to your Live 2D Model /Persee/Persee8192 folder, and you want to overwrite them again. Then press the yellow button to reload the textures again. You can mix and match individual textures from different presets as desired. Body and hair are on texture 00 to 03 and clothing from 04 to 08. Next, we'll go over how to customize parts. Customizing Persee's parts. To customize Persee's parts, go to Animation Settings, open the Expression Editor, and click Create New Expression. Scroll down to parameters prefixed with C_. For this demo, I'll change the bangs. Find C_hair front style, enable the slider, and drag to a different style of bang. Next, I'll change the length by enabling C_hair bangs length and removing the slider all the way to right. Finally, I want to give her headphones instead of a hair ribbon. On the bottom right of VTube Studio, there is a filter input field. Type hairband into it and change the C_hairband style parameter. Some parameters such as the hairstyles, clothing parts, and eye styles are selectors. Keep the decimal point of these values between 0 and 0.8, or you might end up with translucent parts. Unless you want that. Once you are happy with your parts, name your preset using the expression name field and press save. After you save, you might notice that the model went back to the default. To enable your customized parts, click Turn Expressions On/Off, and enable your new expression in the window that pops up. VTube Studio should remember the active expressions next time you reopen the model. If you would like a hotkey for toggling your preset, go back to Animation Settings, expand one of the preset underscore fields, and change the expression under Hotkey Action to your new expression. You can also disable some of these buttons here by unchecking the Screen Button hotkey if desired. Next, we'll go over how to customize Persee's colors. The most frictionless way to handle Persee's colors is to do them inside VTube Studio using the Customize Model feature. However, this is not my recommended style because it is neither the best looking nor the fastest. Open the model settings, then click Customize Model. Click on Customize Multiply/Screen Color for art meshes, and click OK on the warning that pops up. You have my permission. Click on a part you'd like to color and use the eyeball in the list that shows up to confirm the correct item is being selected. Enable that art mesh using the switch to the left and change the multiply color using a color selector. Press OK. On the window that pops up after, you can use the screen color picker to lighten the art mesh. You can now select a different part, enable it, and use the Paste/Multiply/Screen Color feature to adjust multiple parts en masse. Texture Editing Tips. Included with Persee's download is a folder named Texture PSDs. These can be opened with any image editing program that can read Photoshop files, including Photoshop, Clip Studio Paint, Photopea, and GIMP. How to edit images is outside the scope of this guide, but I will give you some of my favorite tips and tricks when editing these textures in Clip Studio and Photoshop. Persee's textures have been roughly organized by common use case. Outfit parts that are designed together and more likely to be used together are on the same texture, which can help some textures not be loaded if they're not needed. When you open a texture PSD, you will see a folder named Mask. If you control-click the thumbnail for one of these layers, it will select the pixels of that layer. I've included these masks in every texture PSD to save you time selecting the most commonly edited color groups. If a mask doesn't exist, you can use magic wand to select your desired areas, expand the selection by 2 pixels, and feather by 1 to get a nearly perfect mask. In addition, the guide layer will be visible by default. This is just an annotation layer to help you find objects. Please turn this layer and the mask group off before exporting, or your model might look a little funny. When creating a new color preset, I recommend duplicating the base layer and putting it in a group, then clipping your adjustment layer to the new layer so it retains the transparency. Hide the base layer after you create your duplicate. After you finish editing a texture, save it with the same file name as a PNG somewhere, then drag it into VTube Studio's Live 2D Models folder, overwriting it. Then press the yellow button in VTube Studio again to reload. To change the logo on some of the outfit items, you can place an image inside the rectangle area where the placeholder logo resides. You can then hide the base layer's placeholder logo with a mask. In Clip Studio Paint, I usually use the Tone Curve Correction layer to adjust values, then a multiply, overlay, or some combination of layers with a solid color to change the color of objects. In Photoshop, much of the same techniques apply, except Photoshop has some tricks that are unavailable in Clip Studio. With any layer, if you open the layer's blending options, you can drag these arrows on the bottom right to change the opacity of the layer based on the lower layer's brightness. Alt-dragging the arrows will split the arrows and allow it to blend gradually. I will often use the technique to blend a layer just in the shadows or just in the highlights, which allows for more color complexity. If you get small white outlines after editing a texture and re-importing, open the model settings in VTube Studio, then click Fix White Outlines. Here are some tips and tricks that might help when using Persee. Simplified body lean. Depending on your tracking environment or mannerisms, you might want Persee's body to lean with a head angle instead of when you move left and right in your chair. To do so, go to VTube Studio's Model Settings and expand the Body Rotation Z parameter. This is important. Before the next step, take note of the input numbers, as VTube Studio will erase them when you change the input parameter. Change the input from face position X to face angle Z. You'll notice the input range has changed. Adjust the in numbers until desired movement is achieved. If you'd like to flip the direction, swap the negative number to the other field. Expanded lean forward. Persee can actually lean back a bit if you move your head further away. To enable this, go to VTube Studio's model settings, expand the body lean forward parameter, and uncheck the limit range on the input. Examine the number to the left of the input range and adjust the numbers until Persee leans back when you do. This feature is usually disabled because most streamers will be sitting in a chair and you can't lean that far back in the chair. If you choose to enable this, it can add a little bit more movement to your model. A note on nudity. For maximum versatility, it is possible to make Persee not safe for work as the parts are rigged on top of a fully rigged nude body. This will obviously violate the terms of service of some platforms, so I cannot stress this enough. Please be very careful when streaming the customization process of your clothes. To test if V-Bridger is working, purse your lip with your teeth visible, something similar to this face to show up. If there's an update to Persee, this is how you patch your own copy. Close VTube Studio if it's open, or change to another model in VTube Studio. Navigate to your VTube Studio's Live2D model/Persee folder and make a copy of the Persee folder just in case. Copy the following files to your Live2D model/Persee folder, overwriting them. And this is very important. Leave persee.vtube.json alone, or your tracking parameters, hotkeys, and various other VTube Studio settings might be lost. This is why it's important to keep a backup of your Persee folder. Copy over the correct textures as needed. If you've made custom changes to your textures in an image editing program, you might need to merge the sheets manually. In general, future updates to textures will aim to keep existing textures alone and only add parts in the expansion areas to maintain compatibility. I will aim to keep the changelogs easy to read, so please refer to them to ensure your customizations don't break. Thank you for watching. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment down below or reach out on the Discord in the description below. I tried to make this video as respectful of your time as possible, and I hope it shows. Happy VTubing! And cut.